63 of retro game pickups. As you can see, I have a huge pyramid of games over there and I'm so excited to get into it in this video. There's so much to show off that I'm actually going to split it up into a few different parts, so if you want to skip to a certain section, check the description or check the timestamps in the video itself. But before we get started, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Hans Sneakers Arts, I really hope I pronounced that right, who has become my most recent Patreon supporter. I really do appreciate it. And as well, before we get started, this video is brought to you by Bifrost Bridge Studios. Like I said in last week's episode, definitely go and check out their new book, which has just been released on Amazon. I'll put an image up over here so you can see what it's all about, and go and check the link in the description. Now, let's get started. So, as you might have noticed at the bottom of this pile, I've also got a few really exciting boxes which are what different companies have sent me over to talk about in this video, and there's also going to be a competition to win one of the things inside these boxes as well. So let's begin with the first thing that I've got here, which was this box. Some of you might remember a few episodes ago I said that I got this. This is the D10 Nano board, but inside this is a custom built Mr. FPGA. So if you're in the retro community, if you're in the retro gaming scene, I'm sure you know what this is. It's basically an emulation box which uses FPGA technology, which is a lot better than your standard emulation techniques, and I'm really excited to show it off in more detail in an upcoming review that I've got planned. But I just wanted to show it off in this video because it was sent over to me by my channel sponsor, Bifrost Bridge Studios, and they actually got it pre-installed with loads of really good games and this really nicely printed user manual as well. So I really can't thank them enough, and I am absolutely loving what I've played of it so far, and I can't wait to show you guys what it's all about and go into a really deep dive in this in a few videos time. So subscribe if you want to see that. So I thought after the last few episodes that I was done with Wii games, but nope, I've got another big stack of games here, and yes, I've actually played and recorded all of them. So over the past month now, I've actually played over 50 Wii games, and you can see them all on my channel. So I'm going to quickly go through these. I won't spend as much time as I did in those top 10 and top 15 videos, but just to give you an idea of some of the other games that I picked up, which might have been included in them, or some that I just picked up because they looked interesting. So the first one we've got here is Driver San Francisco. So the last time I was at Vintage Gamer, I actually picked this up for the PlayStation 3, which was, if you can see it without the glare, there you go, the special edition of Driver San Francisco, which is an absolutely fantastic game, by the way. Highly recommend that. So when I saw the Wii version for sale really cheap in my local CEX, I had to pick this up just to see how different it is, and from what I've played so far, it seems like a completely original game. It's got really great graphics for the Wii, and it also controls really well too. So along with that Driver San Francisco, I also picked up the other Driver game for the Wii, Driver Parallel Lines, and these two both seem to have the same controls and probably run on the same engine, but this one was released a few years earlier, so you can definitely tell that during the course of the Wii's life they actually understood the hardware better, because San Francisco does look a lot better than Parallel Lines. But either way, they're both really good games. I do really like the Driver series in general, so I'm really happy to have these two to add to my Wii games collection. So these three games I actually picked up on my recent trip to Vintage Gamer. I've actually got over there, you can see it just there in the corner, another stack of games that I picked up while I was at the shop, but I'm actually saving those ones for a future video because I feel like they're interesting enough to go into on their own, whereas these three are just kind of throwaway games. But I'm kind of making it a goal of mine now to get every single Wii game that isn't a shovelware title, so that's basically why I picked these three up, just because I thought they sounded a little bit interesting and there was something to add to my Wii collection, and they were just super cheap as well. I think I paid less than £3 for the three of them, so really happy to have these to add to the collection, even if I'm probably not going to actually play them that much. These next two I also picked up from Kex the other day. As you can see, they've still got the price tags on them. These are House of the Dead Overkill and House of the Dead 2 and 3. I absolutely loved Overkill back in the day. One of my friends at college got it, and I remember he lent it out to a few different people in college, and I was one of those people, and I absolutely loved it at the time. I thought it was really funny how over the top it was. I also actually remember that he lent it to our teacher, and our teacher loved it so much he said he went home that night, played it all night, 100% completed the game, and then gave it back to him the day after. So that game holds a really special place in my heart for that reason alone, but it is a really cool game, and I also believe it's in the Guinness World Records for the game with the most uses of the F word as well, which is pretty hilarious, considering it's on the family-friendly console that is the Wii. And of course, the other game to go along with that is House of the Dead 2 and 3, which are fantastic arcade conversions. I played a lot of House of the Dead 3 on the original Xbox back in the day. I didn't really play House of the Dead 2 that much, but playing them to record footage for this video, it definitely is a really fun game. And of course I played it in the arcades back in the day as well, so of course I'm really happy to have both of these now as part of my Wii collection. Now, 2 skateboarding games. First up, surprisingly, a game that I didn't already own, considering I'm a huge fan of the Tony Hawk series. This is Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam. And from what I've played of this so far, it seems like a really fun game, and I'm really surprised that I didn't pick it up back in the day, because I remember reading about it, and I remember thinking it seemed like such a fun game, and when I was playing it to capture footage for this video, I can definitely say that I would have really enjoyed it back in the day. And I actually didn't even know this game existed until I was doing my Hidden Gems video a few weeks ago, and I included a game on there called Shaun White's Snowboarding. This is another Shaun White's game. This is Shaun White's Skateboarding. And like I said, I didn't know this one even existed, but from what I've played, it seems like a really good game. It definitely has the same sort of style as the other Shaun White games, and I did really enjoy it. So it's kind of a shame that I didn't know about this one back in the day, because I probably would have picked it up and I probably would have really enjoyed it too. Now, a few racing games. I do really enjoy my racing games. So I picked up this one here, Ferrari Challenge Deluxe from Kex, for only £1.50. It seems like a pretty good racing simulation style game. And on the complete other end of the racing game spectrum, we have GT Pro Series, which is an all-out arcade racing game. I think they're both really good, but I definitely prefer this one. I love the cel-shaded graphics, and the controls are actually surprisingly good as well. This one was actually made by Ubisoft, and of course a lot of their games on the Wii are really good, and this is one that I've been really enjoying recently. So if you want a racing game for the Wii and you want something a little bit different that not a lot of people have probably heard of, definitely recommend this game here called GT Pro Series. Now, this one's called Free Running, and the reason I picked this one up is because I actually remember seeing, I don't know what channel it was on or what program it was, but I remember back in the day when this came out, which was 2009, I remember seeing a TV show where they actually went into the making of this game. So if anyone knows what that TV show was, please let me know. I think the version they were showing on the TV show was the PS2 game, and I didn't actually know it came out on the Wii until I saw this. I think I actually got this from Vintage Gamer as well, but when I saw this, it just made me remember that TV show, but I have no idea what it was. So if anyone knows what it was, please let me know down in the comments below. The game itself isn't really that good, but because of that memory, I felt like I just had to have it, and I'm sure this one was only about £1 as well. Now, these two games, Family Ski and Family Ski and Snowboard, I'm actually really regretting picking these up. They were £1.50 and £3 respectively, but they're awful. They're really, really bad. I was hoping for a kind of arcade style, fun, family friendly experience, and I do love my snowboarding games, but these two games, they control really badly, the frame rate's really bad, the graphics aren't really that good either. To be honest, unless you're a really, really young kid or something, there's no reason to pick these games up over something like Shaun White or even the SSX game on the Wii. And the final Wii game before we get into one of these boxes here, this one is Spyro Dawn of the Dragon, and I actually think this was the final Spyro game that I needed, and now I have every single game in the Spyro series. This one's a really good entry in the series. I love the fact that you can actually have free flight. So this is the first time ever that Spyro was actually allowed to freely fly around the stages. It has really nice graphics. I've also got it on the PS3 as well, and I was quite surprised to see just how close the Wii version was to the PS3 game, which is something, usually there's a big difference in quality, but with this game in particular, it didn't really seem that big of a jump between the two consoles, and that is really, really interesting to see how they ported a game onto the Wii like that. So if you like your Spyro games and you want something a bit more, maybe a bit more grown up I should say, then definitely check out this one, Spyro Dawn of the Dragon. And now with the Wii games out of the way, let's take a look at the first box here, which is a box within a box. There's actually a few boxes in here. This one was sent over to me by a company called RetroProtect, so they wrote me a nice little letter there, and basically what this company is, they make, there you go, you can see in the box there, they make manual protectors. So they gave me all sorts of different ones here. There's a pack of 25 there to protect Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games. There's another set there for Game Boy games. There's one here for GameCube. There's one here for Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64. I think the other boxes have PlayStation, Dreamcast and stuff like that. So these are for the GameCube games, and I actually picked up 2 GameCube games the other day. So I picked up Phantasy Star Online 3, and I picked up Tales of Symphonia, which was one of my favourite games back in college, but I never actually owned my own version until now. So let's actually use the manual that's in here, and let's protect it using one of RetroProtect's manual sleeves. So it's really simple. They're all made specifically for the size of the console, so just slide the manual in like so, and then once it's in like that, you can just peel off this little piece of sticky back protector there, and then fold that over, and there you go, a really nice fully protected instruction manual, so you never have to worry about them again. And let's see what was in the other boxes while we're here. So we've got PlayStation and PlayStation 1, we've got PS3 and PS4, we've got PlayStation 2, Xbox, Wii and Wii U, all these different sizes, and they all put a nice little thank you note on there as well. So I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much to RetroProtect. And if you like the look of these manual protectors, you can use the code RetroBreak10 at checkout to get 10% off. And if you want to win some of these for yourselves, leave a comment down below what system you would like these for, and I'm going to pick 2 lucky winners and then send your names over to RetroProtect, and they will actually send you some of their retro manual covers for the system of your choice. So like this video, subscribe and leave a comment down below to be in with a chance of winning one of these protectors for yourselves. And just in case you were wondering, the other ones they do: Sega Master System, Sega Mega Drive and Dreamcast and Game Gear. And there we go, I think that's basically all of the systems covered, so I'm definitely going to spend a good few hours going through all my shelves and putting all my manuals in these little protectors. It is a really great idea, so definitely go and check out their website. I'll put a link in the description below, and don't forget to leave a comment if you want to win some for yourselves. Now this next section is all about Game Boy Homebrew games, and I'm sure this is a bit that a lot of you have been looking forward to. So there's 6 games here, and I picked all of these up off a website called Catskull Electronics. They've got a few more games on there, and I'm going to use next month's Patreon money, I think, to try and buy the rest of them. And then I will do a full video in the future where I go into each one of these games in detail, but for now let me give you a quick overview of the ones that I picked up so far. So first up, we have a Game Boy Color game called Quartet, and this one is basically a really simple puzzle game where you have to make faces. There's basically a grid in 4 directions, and you get a different piece of the face in the middle, and you have to slide it to one side or the other, or up and down, and you have to try and make a face, and then you get scored based on how close the face was to being a fully featured face. It doesn't really make that much sense, but it will do when I get round to doing the full video. Next one we have is Death Planet, and this one has a really great graphic style. You're basically flying through a tunnel and you have to move up and down and try and dodge the walls and the ceiling, and it's basically one of those games where you see how far you can get. So really nice little arcadey game, that one. Next up we have one called Guns N' Riders, and this one is kind of a side-scrolling shooting game where you play as the little cowboy there, and you're running along the desert and you have to shoot the different cowboys that are coming at you, and it's quite difficult because the way the bullets are, they're quite big and your sprite's quite small, so you have to keep trying to dodge out the way, and then you have to try and shoot your bullets to try and kill all of these different enemies. And it's basically a high score game as well, so each run only lasts like a minute maybe, and it's really fun to try and keep going back and try and improve your score each time. This one, some of you may have heard. I know when I was looking at Game Boy Homebrew games in the past, this one always seemed to pop up. This one is called Sheep It Up, and basically I think this was made for a Game Boy Jam many years ago with the theme of Velcro. So you play as a sheep and you have to jump up the stage and attach yourself to these Velcro platforms that are moving from side to side. It's a really unique concept and it plays really well. And I've definitely saved the best two for last here. So this one is called Die and Retry, and this one actually reminds me a lot of a game on the Atari Lynx called Chip's Challenge. Basically, it's a top-down game where you're moving through very particularly laid out levels, and you have to find keys to open different areas, and you have to collect all of the different items, and then you unlock the end of the stage. But along the way, there's all different enemies and obstacles that you have to try and avoid. So it's a really well-made and well-thought-out game. I'm really looking forward to going into more detail in this one in my full video in the future. And the final game here, and definitely the most interesting and the most unique one of the bunch, this one is called DMG Deals Damage. And basically in this game, it's kind of a top-down game, sort of like Robotron or maybe Smash TV, something like that. So it's a top-down game and you're moving through these different rooms and fighting all of the different enemies. But the thing that makes this really unique is the fact that you're playing as a Game Boy system with two fists on either side of it. And whether you press A or B depends on whether you fire out your left or your right fist, and you can pick the enemies up and throw them against the wall. It gets really challenging later on when the rooms are full of enemies, but it's a really good game and definitely my favourite out of the 6 games that I've picked up from Catskull Electronics so far. So if you like the look of any of those, and if you've ever played any, let me know down in the comments below, and if you want to pick up any for yourself, I'll put a link to their website in the description. So now I have a little stack of kind of random mix of new things and some DS and 3DS games. So I'll start with the DS and 3DS games because they're really not that exciting at all. The only reason I got these is because I bought my Nan a 3DS the other day, and it came with a bunch of games, but to be honest they're not really that good, and I just dropped one on the floor. So I don't really know what I'm going to do with these. So I've got Disney's Planes, I've got Mario and Sonic at the London Olympics, I've got Angry Bird Trilogy, which is probably the only game that I was actually interested in out of this bunch, and there's 3 kind of girly baby games. So we've got Disney Strawberry Storybook, no idea. We have Charlotte's Web for the DS, and we have another one called Strawberry Shortcake Strawberryland Games, which I've got no idea what that's like either. So yeah, those weren't very exciting. Some games that are exciting though, of course, new Pokemon Snap is absolutely fantastic. My girlfriend's really loving it at the minute. She's been playing it all the time in the other room. And the other game I got from Numbskull Games, this one is called Battle Axe, and they actually gave me a download code, so I'm going to keep this sealed. Or maybe I won't actually. Shall we see what's in there? Yeah, let's see what's in there. I was actually really looking forward to this game anyway, so I did already back it on Kickstarter, but they were very kind and sent me over a code, so I don't really need to open this up. But I just want to see what the inside of the case looks like, and it's got a really nice picture on the inside there as well, and there's the outside of it. It's a really good game. Definitely recommend it if you're into your top-down action games and you like pixel art style graphics as well. I did a gameplay video over on my gameplay channel a few weeks ago when I got the code, so have a look in the description if you want to see some gameplay of it. And I already mentioned Pokemon Snap is absolutely fantastic, but I'm sure a lot of you guys have already played this by now anyway. Now, a game for PSVR which I got, and I actually forgot I'd pre-ordered this, but the game itself is pretty good, although Doom 3 isn't really that good of a game, so the VR helps a little bit with the immersion, but I got completely lost at one point and gave up. I'm talking about Doom 3 VR, and I remember that I actually pre-ordered this after I watched Digital Foundry's video on it. I thought it was really cool the way that you could play the game in VR, and I was really intrigued to see how they'd taken the original experience, which I played back on the day on the PS3 I think. I was really intrigued to see how they took the original game and turned it into a VR game. And in terms of VR support, they did a really good job, but it doesn't really help the fact that the game itself I didn't really enjoy that much to begin with, but it was still really interesting to see what they managed to do, and it's just good to get another game for PSVR, and I cannot wait for PSVR 2 for the PS5 sometime next year. Talking about the PS5, of course, Resident Evil Village here. I haven't actually played it yet, but if you want to see my girlfriend playing it, she's actually streaming it now over on Twitch. Twitch.tv/RisuChew, I think it is. I'll put a link in the description to that as well. It seems like a really good game so far, but I'm going to play it through on my own at some point, so I don't want to watch her play all of it. But if you guys want to see it, and if you guys want to watch her play some games, definitely go and check out her Twitch channel.
Oh, sorry.
And 3 DS games here that I was excited to get. We've got Need for Speed Nitro. It is one of my goals is to collect every Need for Speed game, and I haven't really got that many left to get, and this one seems really good. I was actually really enjoying this. It's very over the top, and it actually controls and looks really good on the DS, so really enjoying that. I also got the DS version of Ivy the Kiwi after I showed it off in my Wii Hidden Gems video a few weeks ago. It's a fantastic game. I think it even plays better on the DS than it does on the Wii. It's a really good game. If you want to hear more about it, I've talked about it a few times in the past. I talked about it on a video I did called The Unknown Game Genre, and I also talked about it on my Hidden Gems video for the Wii. So I'll put both of those in the description. And the last one, and the game that I've definitely been playing the most out of all the games that I've showed off in this episode, this is Peggle Dual Shot for the DS. This game never actually got a release in the UK, so I actually imported this one, and I actually had to pay import tax as well, so it was very expensive to get, but I'm really glad that I did. I absolutely loved Peggle and PopCap in general back in the day, and I'm so happy to have this. I've actually been playing it every night before bed, and I've actually finished all of the original Peggle levels, but luckily this one also includes Peggle Nights, so I've started playing through all of the Peggle Night stages in this now, and I cannot get enough of it. If you guys loved Peggle on the PC, this is a perfect port of it to the DS, and I highly recommend it to anyone with a DS, and yes, it's worth the price that it goes for online. And now we have one final box, and this is something that I was super excited to get. This one was sent over to me by my friends from nin Games, and I suppose this is the best thing to show first. It is for the new Monster Boy game, Asher in Monster World, which I'm really looking forward to, and I could not believe it when I opened this and saw all the amazing stuff that they'd sent over. I'm going to tilt the camera up a little bit because at the top of the shelf you can see up there, I'll do a close-up, I've actually got all of their other standees, and I love the fact that they keep making these. The Mega Drive original is one of my favourite games of all time. So what else came in here? We have this nice mug here, which is really cool, got some really nice pixel art on it. I've got a thank you note there that says Back for Adventure on the back. And what else did I get? Some stickers. There's some stickers there, and there's another sticker. There are some drink coasters, which are really cool. One of Asher and one of a little creature that I can't remember the name of. Let me know down in the comments what the name of this thing is. It's like Popo or something. Can't quite remember, but I remember in the game it evolves over time and you can use it to help you do platforming and stuff, which is really cool. There was also some really nice art cards as well. There's a nice colour one and there's a nice black and white one there. They both look really nice, and I've got a really nice collection of these now, so these are really cool to add to it. And there's also a face mask, which looks a bit weird, but there you go. If you want to have nice giant lips, you can get a face mask with the special edition of the game. And the last thing in this box, move this box out of the way now. And the last thing that was in this box was this really nice poster here. And I'm going to save this for when I get the new game room, and I'm definitely going to put this up on the wall, get it framed and put it up. Here we go. Isn't that just amazing? I absolutely love the artwork for this, and it's definitely going up on the wall in my new game room. And that's something I'm really excited to tell you guys about, is the fact that I'll be moving out of this room hopefully in a few months' time, and we've actually been starting to work on the game room in that house. And another thing that I was going to show you, it's not a game, but I got this recently. This is an Insta360 1X2, I think it's called, camera. And basically it's a 360 camera that goes on this stand here, and you can do some really cool camera tricks with it. But I'm actually using it to film the progression of the game room, so I'm really looking forward to showing you guys a lot more behind the scenes stuff in the new house and the new room coming very soon. I'm very excited. And as well as all of that great stuff, I also got a load of really cool downloadable titles recently. So let's take a look at what some of those are. So the first downloadable title we're looking at is a game called Quackly, which is out in June, and I got this one on Steam thanks to my friend Zane from Let's Talk Game Design. This is the first game that he's actually publishing, so definitely go and show him all your support and wishlist this game on Steam. I'll put a link in the description to the store page for it. It's a really fun game. I had a lot of fun playing it to capture the footage for this video. The main hook of the game is the fact that each level is only 13 seconds long. It reminds me a lot of something like Super Meat Boy. It is so much fun and it's really replayable and rewarding. I definitely recommend you go and check it out when it's released on the 9th of June. Now the next game here is called Paperball, and I've actually had this one downloaded for a while, but I've never had a chance to talk about it until now. As you can see, it's basically a fan game of the Super Monkey Ball series, and I feel like they did a really good job of capturing what made those original games so much fun. The physics are a little bit different, but they make sense within the theme of the game. Definitely recommend this one. And the next game here, as you've probably noticed, is another Super Monkey Ball fan game. This one's called Rolled Out, and this one feels a lot closer to the original physics of the Monkey Ball game, but I feel like the theme for this one isn't really as interesting as Paperball. It all feels very vanilla and not really that inspired, but the game itself plays really well and it's definitely got some really unique stages too. And now this one is Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, which I downloaded recently on the Switch while it was on sale. I absolutely loved playing this game on the PC back in the day, so when I saw it on the Switch for a really good price, I just had to pick it up and I was not disappointed. It brought back so many great memories. I just love those theme park building games. And the last game I'm showing off here as part of the download section is a game called Mr. A Ruins of Desnif. I hope I've pronounced that right. This game is made by the developers of the Umehara Kawase series, which I'm sure you all know I'm a huge fan of, and this game is really, really interesting. It's their first take on a game that's more of a Metroidvania style, and I think they pulled it off really well. It does have a really, really bad translation though. So if you decide to check the game out, be warned that the story won't make any sense whatsoever, but the gameplay is really fun. But wow, that was a long episode, so I really hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I've still got up there another load of games that I want to talk to you guys about in the near future from Vintage Gamer, so that might be next week's episode. So subscribe if you want to see that. Please check out Patreon if you want to join these amazing people at the bottom of the screen here. I really, really do appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all next week for the next episode. Goodbye.